Is it possible to test a trading strategy or trading indicator using neural networks in literally 5 minutes? Yes, it is possible. I'll show you how to do this using neural networks, give you all the prompts, and you'll be able to copy them and repeat the testing process for basically any indicator you're interested in. I'll be using Supertrend as an example and making it a bit more complex to make it effective. I'll show you in which cases it's effective, in which cases it's not, and I'll provide the resulting code and strategy. I'll also attach it so you can test it yourself and check my work. My name is Maxim. This is the Thinking Out Loud channel. Let's go. In general, every trader often faces the question, how can I test my strategy, the one I want to trade with or I'm already trading with? How will it perform over the course of a year, for example, or 2 years? Or, I don't know, how will it behave on a different time frame? Or, for example, in crypto, if before I was trading Lukoil and Sberbank on the stock market, and now I want to move into crypto. This is especially relevant for beginners who basically don't understand what's going on, aren't really familiar with technical analysis yet, but are very interested in it. They already want to start making money right away. So what do? They immediately rush to the internet and start looking for ready-made trading strategies. Fortunately, there are tons of them out there. And actually, many of them aren't that bad, to be honest. And the main problem for young or inexperienced traders isn't that they can't find a good strategy, or that such strategies don't exist, but rather that they lack patience and, first and foremost, don't know how to work on themselves. But since this video isn't about trading itself yet, but specifically about strategy testing, let's start figuring out what I actually mean by the word testing a strategy. For example, I found some indicator somewhere on the internet, or someone told me there's a cool indicator you can trade with, or you can add it to your trading system, and I can just add it to the screen in TradingView and see if I like it or not. Let's say I like it. But how do I quickly measure how effective it is? I could do a backtest, go through the chart, spend 14,000 hours on it, and eventually come to some logical conclusion about whether I like it or not. But how can I do this quickly? After all, there must be a reason we have all these neural networks that have been invented in such huge numbers, DeepSeek, Omni or One, you name it. And now I'm going to show you how to use these super smart things to your advantage, so you can just cut down the whole backtesting process and visually see the result quickly, literally in 5 or 10 minutes. Plus, I'll also give you the prompts. There will be a post in my Telegram channel with a formatted prompt, actually, 2 full prompts that I'll be using in this video, so you can just quickly copy and paste them without having to write or come up with them yourself. All I ask from you is a like, a subscription, and to hit the bell. Now let's dive in and see what's happening in the world of neural networks in TradingView. So, in front of you is the Lukoil chart, 15 minutes. I could have picked anything, but I just happen to have Lukoil open here. By the way, this is my go-to indicator that I use for trading. I actually wrote it myself, so today we won't be analyzing it. So what are we going to analyze? What are we going to practice on? I suggest we try out a trendy indicator called Supertrend. It's not exactly brand new or necessarily better than other indicators, but let's give it a shot. How do people usually work with the Supertrend, right? Well, probably the most common trading strategy, if you look it up online, goes like this. If the price breaks through the Supertrend from below upwards, you enter a buy trade. If it breaks from above downwards, somewhere around here, from top to bottom, you enter a short trade. That's it. You trade in both directions. So, if the trend is down, we trade down. If the trend is up, we trade up. This is the simplest basic strategy and, in fact, the basic logic behind the Supertrend. If you think this strategy is too simple or that the Supertrend is a bad indicator, we'll make it a bit more complex later on. I'll show you how to do that. You can make these strategies as complicated as you want. But let's start with something simple, so it's clear how to actually do this and just how bad the Supertrend really is. By the way, before you see the results, you can leave a comment with your guess. Do you think it will actually be profitable or not? With such a simple logic, it's really just step 1, step 2, right? There's nothing complicated about it. So, the Supertrend by default doesn't give any signals. We can't really analyze it in any way. Look, in this sideways market, did it lose a lot? How much money did it make here, and how much of our money did it lose? We can't understand anything at all, right? Basically, it just exists, gives some signals, and we have to backtest it manually. We don't really want to do that. So what do? We take the Supertrend code. To do this, we hover over it, hover over those curly brackets, super source code, and a window with the Supertrend indicator code opens up for us. We just take it right from there and copy it. Then we go to the article with the prompt. I've already written it. It's important here, some initial data needs to be given to the neural network, because otherwise it messes up and writes code with errors that you'll have to fix later. So this simple prompt, this part, will really cut down your workload. Basically, just copy it from here. It'll be in my Telegram channel. I'll have a link to it. I've already done all this, written it out, and here it is, the Supertrend. click, click, click. We just select all of this, copy it, and paste it into the neural network. We use ChatGPT 03 Mini High, that's the one I use. Basically, DeepSeek can do it too, it's completely free, while this one is a paid version. It's just that DeepSeek, unfortunately, is overloaded, so it's faster for me to do it in 03 Mini High. We just paste the prompt, paste the Supertrend indicator, and send it off to think. It started processing. Sometimes it shows it, sometimes it doesn't. Hi, by the W, wait, maybe you can click on it? No. Unfortunately, right now you can't see what it's thinking about, but sometimes it's really interesting to read how the neural network thinks. Smarter than some people, honestly. By the way, did you know that an ostrich's brain is smaller than its eye? Can you imagine? And I know people like that too. So, our neural network thought for 1 minute and 14 seconds, and wrote out the complete strategy code in PineScript 6. Here's the full code. And here it gave a comment. The drawing is preserved. The supertrend line is green and ascending. A long entry occurs if the price crosses the supertrend line from below and the candle closes above the line. That's exactly what I wanted from it. A long exit happens if the price crosses the supertrend line from above. A short entry is the mirror signal if the price crosses the line from above and closes below it, provided short trades are enabled. And you exit a short if the price crosses the line from below upwards. Position reversal. When a reversal signal appears, the strategy starts closing the open position in the opposite direction. Well, that's cool. Overall, it's decent code and a reasonable strategy. Let's take it, hit the copy button, and head over to TradingView. Here, we click up here at the top, where we looked at the Supertrend code, and then click Create New Strategy. And the strategy code window opens up for us. We just delete all of it to hell and back, and paste in the code our little neural network gave us. Click Add to Chart, and it takes us to the strategy testing window, where it says no data, meaning performance, 0 rubles, 0 rubles. It hasn't done anything. Why? So, did it start drawing? Yeah, it started drawing. So if we remove the Supertrend indicator, it matches exactly. In other words, it kept the drawing part. Alright, so we'll turn off the basic Supertrend indicator so it doesn't get in the way or slow things down. But here, it's not doing anything at all. So, we need to tell the neural network about this. I wrote to it, the chart is being drawn correctly, but there are no trades. Check the entry and exit conditions for trades. For the exit, click. Here, you see, it starts reasoning, writes something about why it thinks this might be happening, and gives corrected code. It thought for 43 seconds. I wonder what it changed. For entry, the condition is to crossover close supertrend. Alright, okay. Which returns true when the price moves from below to above the supertrend line. For exiting along, it's mirrored for short trades. He probably meant mirrored. He even added position management. When a signal appears, it checks if a position is open, yada yada. The graphical supertrend repeats the original indicator. Alright, let's try copying it. We open it up like this, expand the Pine editor. Here it is, our strategy. Select everything, delete it, and paste in the new update on chart code. Click. Now let's go to the strategy tester. Nothing. And once again, the code compiled without errors. But nothing is being displayed for us. Unfortunately, this happens sometimes. And it's not a neural network problem, it's a TradingView problem. To fix it, try a different ticker. Well, for example, let's just use SBER instead of Lukoil. There you go. And on SBER, we immediately got some kind of chart. So, on SBER's 15-minute chart, you can actually trade with this strategy, and it even trades profitably. Here there are 489 trades, 38% of them are profitable trades. So, roughly every fourth trade is profitable, the rest are losses. Well, I also need to explain to you what's going on here in the settings. Look, this is Enable Short Trades. This means whether to trade short or not. I specifically checked this box and wrote in the prompt for it to check this box, so that if this is trend trading, or if you're testing investment strategies, you can disable shorts, because where would you even get shorts from, really? We turn off shorts, let's see what happens. So, what happens without shorts? By the way, it's actually much better without shorts. 40%, and there are fewer trades too. The drawdown is just 0.78. That's strange. Most likely, in the properties, it's set to 10% equity, right? See? Only 10% of our balance is being used. Let's set it to at least 50%, okay? Because it's pointless to test with just 10%. There you go. Well, it shows some kind of results. Is it significant? Is it good or bad for 245 trades? Plus 25% profit. Well, it's SOSO. But actually, you have to understand that the Supertrend indicator itself is a trend indicator, and it's kind of odd to trade with such an indicator on 15-minute charts. I think that, for example, on daily charts it would show better results. There you go. There you go. Look. As you can see, the simplest, absolutely the simplest way to use the Supertrend strategy turned out to be quite profitable in historical testing. Now I'll show you what historical period this is, over what time frame, and how to check it. Look, here you can check the list of trades and see when they start. February 13th, 2025 is the last trade, and the first trade was in March 1998. So, basically, this is over a very, very long period of time. And maybe the effectiveness isn't actually that high for such a long period. You can try to check, compare it with buy and hold equity. You check the box and see that if you had just bought with this money back in 1998, you would have made much more by now. So, you really can't say that this trading strategy is, like, super amazing. Even though, at first glance, it's 4,500%. These kinds of nuances are very important in trading, especially if you're a beginner trader. Please pay attention to this. And let's try to tweak this strategy into something, well, at least somewhat acceptable. Maybe we won't even need to do anything complicated for that. See for yourself. Let's take and change the time frame from 1 day to 1 hour. Damn, well, it got worse. On the daily chart, Sberbank was trading better. Alright. Let's suppose there was a massive drawdown here. Naturally, it couldn't really trade anything. But what if we add short trades during this big drawdown? Let's see what happens. Still, nothing particularly good came out of it. Let's switch the time frame back to 1 day. No, let's try 4 hours. So, now on the 4-hour chart, you see, we didn't do much. We just very quickly tried out different time frames in different trade conditions. As you can see, it didn't really take much effort to figure out that the most effective time frame for Sberbank in the Supertrend crossover strategy is actually 4 hours. And in this way, you see, our green line, our profit, is higher than if we had just bought and held all this time, right? So, it's more effective than buy and hold. Why is that? In fact, it's almost twice as effective, and the percentage of profitable trades stayed about the same, around 40%. Apparently, it's simply due to a good risk-to-reward ratio that we're able to pull this whole thing into a pretty decent profit. Alright, now let's try turning off the short trades and only trade long on the 4-hour chart. Will it get better? Look, in terms of profit, it seems to have gotten worse, but the equity drawdown dropped from 25% to 15%, plus there's a 5% increase in profitable trades. Alright, let's try giving them a bit more money to manage then, say 70% of the equity. Oh, not bad. So, we've ended up with a pretty good result again, with 45% profitable trades. See how quickly we were able to test the Supertrend strategy and figure out where it's effective and where it's not. But what if we want to use more than one indicator and test several indicators together? I'll show you now. So, we already have some level of effectiveness, right? We've already achieved some profit, even if it's not huge, but it's better than just buy and hold, right? In other words, we're already more effective than the buy and hold strategy. Let's try to tweak it further. Let's minimize this testing window. You can collapse and expand it right here. Now we're back to the chart. Let's take a look. Well, actually, it enters pretty well, especially when there's some kind of trend. That is, like any trend-following strategy, a basic strategy on a supertrend will lose money during a flat market. Here, it's stop. These are all losses, or at best break-evens, but mostly losses. And, accordingly, everywhere you see these sideways movements, those are losses. We need to somehow get rid of them. Moreover, if we manage to eliminate them and switch to a lower time frame, like 1 hour or even 15 minutes, there will be more trades and we can make even more profit. How do we get rid of them? I suggest adding a double EMA. It's actually quite similar to the Supertrend, so it shouldn't block too many trades. But it will definitely block some trades. Basically, we're just adding a filter. For example, if the buy signal is above the EMA, well, the double EMA, then we enter. If it's below, then we don't enter. So, for example, here we would have filtered out this signal, but here we would have entered, and this would have been a profit, and that would have been a loss. So, this kind of simple filter might, just might, let us move to a lower time frame and make more profit. How do we add it? We expand the list of DEMA indicators, click on the curly brackets, the indicators code opens up, we copy it and go paste it into the second prompt. Here is the second prompt. Read this file, it will be available in the Telegram channel. I've already done all of this. Here is the second prompt, and we add it, copy it, go to our neural network, paste it in, and hit send. While the neural network is thinking, subscribe to this channel, hit like, and turn on the bell so you don't miss anything. And in return, I'll tell you another interesting fact from the wild. Did you know that a starfish doesn't have a brain at all? And unfortunately, I know people like that too. So, during this time, the neural network has written us new code. We just copy it without even looking and rush back to trading. We minimize the indicator window and open the Supertrend strategy. Just like this, we click on the curly brackets. The Supertrend strategy code appears. We just delete it and paste in the new one. Click Update on Chart. If the label is gray, it means the code has been updated. Let's take a look at the results. Click on Strategy Tester. And it actually looks like it got worse. Yeah, on the 4-hour chart it definitely got worse. We're definitely making less money, but the profit percentage actually increased. I wonder what happens if we switch to the 1-hour time frame, for example, and here, the strategy really comes to life. Look, we're showing much better performance than just the buy and hold strategy. That's really good! And we've got 205 trades, 205 deals, with a profit percentage of 45, well, almost 46%. Profit factor is 2.13, so on average, our take profit is 2.13 times bigger than the stop loss. That's actually not bad at all. Let's try 15 minutes. No, 15 minutes isn't enough. Let's try half an hour. Alright, and with the half-hour strategy, it's just amazing. Look, our profit factor is a little bit lower, around 2 instead of 2.12, right? The profit percentage is 48.8, almost 50% of trades, 209 trades in total. That's actually a really good result. Well, for such a simple strategy, it's definitely a very good result. Let's see over what period, when the first trade happened. The first trade was in 2022, so that's over 3 years. Alright, let's take another look at the overview. The drawdown is 18%. With that kind of drawdown, we could try giving it 80%. I wonder what will happen. Well, basically, nothing really changed, only the drawdown and the profit both increased. Alright, let's try 100% for a change. So, over 3 years, it shows 193% just on Sberbank. Meaning, if we simply set the robot to trade this strategy on Sberbank, over 3 years it would have made almost 200% on the capital. And that's not even counting dividends and everything else. So, by using neural networks, you can quickly check which is more profitable, Ikimoku-Plouds or Bollinger Bands, for example, right? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Like the video, leave your comments, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss new jokes from the animal world. See you all later.